a ton of work has been put into this already. And I bought this thing because it's pretty simple. It's easy to understand. There's basic wiring, there's basic plumbing, it's just a basic thing. But I've still been working on this for a couple of months now.
Would be just perfect.
Okay.
But it's about an inch short.
My parents showed up to help out a little bit. It was also the holidays, so they came in for that. I went over that way. They live about 9 hours away. So they came up. My dad had a bunch of stuff left over in his basement, and that's the kind of guy my dad is he walks around and collects stuff, and oh, I've got a use for that. They were building some houses around his house, and somebody left some wood floor out there, and he didn't have any use for it, but he picked it up, and 10 years later, it's going into the camper. So let me tell you about a little bit of the work that my parents and I did on this camper during the holidays. The heater was working. It was blowing cold air, but I don't have any propane plugged in right now, so I'm assuming that that's the issue with that. But it was working fine. Thermostat's working. So going good so far. A lot of work, and a lot of work still to do. So my dad showed up and he brought a lot of stuff with him, which was great. A lot of stuff that's gone into this camper has been recycled and is being reused, and not so much because I have some strong convictions towards that, although I really feel good about a lot of the reuse that's going into that. But because it's stuff that we had left over, and it's a 1999 truck camper, so it's being reused to begin with. So I really feel good about that. And then a lot of the stuff that's going in there is stuff that's being reused. So we put a whole wood floor in there, measured it out perfectly. My dad even put the wood floor under the area for the water tank, which I was like, Dad, we don't need wood floor in here. He's like, well, let's just finish it, make it look nice. So measured it all out, and it's beautiful in there. It looks really great. Feels like it's empty. Just enough paint left for those screws. I forgot about that box full of screws. Let's see if we have enough paint. Yeah, pretty empty. I painted everything. I cleaned it all up at first. I painted everything. We really started looking at inexpensive ways to make it look really nice, because I wanted this to be a tiny home. I didn't want it to be a camper. Because of my Professor on the Road project that I'm doing, I'm gonna live in it for a little while. It's not just a camping thing, it's glamping. I wanted to feel comfortable in it, but also I need to shoot video, and I need to edit video, and I need to teach my classes, and there's a lot of stuff that I need to do, and I wanted it to be comfortable, where a camper is good for a weekend. You know, that's fine. I understand that, but if I'm going to spend a lot of time in it, I want to make it look nice. And I also got a little bit motivated by all the stuff that I was seeing on YouTube. So I was watching a lot of that over the pandemic, so I had a lot of ideas on what I wanted to do. So a lot of that made it into the camper. Now I just have to worry about some of the electric here. And I want to do it before I put the countertop back in. And I want to get a really cool countertop for this. I'm still looking for something cool. My father is making a really nice table for in here that I haven't seen yet. For the countertop, I was going to go find a nice butcher block, or I was calling around for some really nice wood, and I went out to throw some stuff away because I had a trash full of stuff, and I went to my dumpster right around the corner here to throw it away, and there was this big piece of wood sitting there, and I said, well, I'll grab this because it's free right now. I'll just stick it in the garage, and maybe we'll use it, maybe we won't. And that's what we ended up cutting the brand new countertop out of. And it looks great, it's gonna work great, and it was free. So that was perfect. I was gonna pay $100 for a butcher block, but no, this is free, and it's nice and lightweight, fits in the truck perfectly, looks great. We can replace the old 1999 countertop that was in there that was pretty rough.
Not the edge sewing kind of thing?
Well, I hand sewed this. No, this is for you.
Right.
Don't put it on camera. This is.
Don't put what on camera, Mom. What should I not put on camera? What should I? one of my favorite parts about this, and I don't know why it is, but it's this little garage on the side, and that's where it houses the propane tank. And I don't know why, I just enjoy it so much right now. But I'm planning for that to be a lot of place for all my tools to go in there, all my extra parts. So the propane tank is in there. I did paint it because it was a little rough. Cleaned it all out, bought a little shop vac, cleaned out everything, cleaned out the area behind the refrigerator, all that kind of stuff. So really I went through and did a deep cleaning, cleaned that area as well, and painted it, mainly because it just had that old camper smell. So I really went through and painted everything to just cover up all that kind of stuff. Even under the bed, I ended up putting a white, that same white that I put everywhere else, just to make sure that we got the smells taken care of. I did clean it under there. You know, I did check it for water damage, all those kind of things. There's a little bit of water stuff here and there, but nothing major actually. It's actually holding up pretty good. I do think that it was in an accident on the top corner here because there's a little bit of fiberglass work there. And then on the bottom, back left on the top as well, that light on the other side is not there, and there's a piece of metal there. So something must have happened to it. But realistically, going through it, it's actually in pretty good shape. We connected the power to the back of the truck. Almost everything's working on it. There's a couple of lights that are out, but I think it's a little wiring issue, and I think I can solve it pretty easily. But realistically, the whole thing is in pretty damn good shape. So what am I doing today? Let me do that without scratching my nose. So what am I doing today? Well, on the bottom of the camper, the last guy built up a platform because it looks like these maybe 1999 trucks, the side of the trucks were lower, so these things fit in there perfectly, and then the newer trucks, it looks like they built it up a little bit, so they just didn't fit. So the last guy built a frame underneath it, and it was basically a deck. It was a bunch of 2x4s. It was like 7 2x4s running up and down this thing, and they were vertical. So it was pretty high on my truck, and we could lower that a little bit. And I also wanted to lower the weight because the weight of that camper is actually not too bad. It's like 1,200 pounds, which is not a lot for a camper. That's what the little sticker says on it. It's about 1,200 pounds. But with that extra weight on the bottom, it was getting pretty heavy. So, and my truck can handle it, it's fine, but the less weight we can put on it, the better. And I did want to lower it to sit in the bed a little bit better. So we did some measurements, and we're lowering it. And I'm actually taking, 6 2x4s out of the equation. So I built another frame here that is much simpler, and it looks like it's going to be fine. It looks like it's going to hold it really, really nicely. So I'm really excited about that. One, the weight savings. So one of the things I have to do today is I have to take everything off the bottom. I took a couple pieces off the bottom to build this, but now I have to take the rest off the bottom, and that's what it's been sitting on top of the sawhorses. So I've only raised it up just a little bit, so the sawhorses are still there. I'm getting rid of all the vertical pieces. Luckily, when I pulled the screws out, some of the screws were sticking through the floor. So when we were doing the flooring, I had to go under there and back out the screws, and I did that with everything on the sawhorses. So now it looks like they're only being held on by the ends. So I'm just going to go under there, pull out the rest of the boards, and then slide my new one on there with the sawhorses still down because it's just me in here. And then I'm going to drop it back on the sawhorse. So that's the plan of what I'm going to do. That was a long freaking thing.